All right, good morning, gamers. Did you know that most of us live two lives? The lives that we live and the lives that we're capable of living. So what if I told you that a simple shift in your thinking held the power, quite literally held the power to unlock deep, untapped reservoirs of prosperity sitting dormant inside of you right now. Prosperity that when you laser focus has the ability to empower you to achieve every last goal that you've ever wanted to achieve inside of your business. Gamers, if that shift existed, would you want to know what it is? Well, stick around because I'm going to walk you through it in 6 seconds. All right, gamers, I want to welcome you back to Rebel Investor Game Season 2. My name is Chris White. I'm going to be your host today. And the reason that all of this deep, untapped reservoir of prosperity is sitting dormant inside of you right now is because of a roadblock in your thinking. Okay, now, why is thinking so important? I want to hit on this with you right out of the gate here in Season 2 because I'm going to be talking about this early and often. For those of you who have been with us in past seasons, you've already got this ingrained into your ethos, which is important for your success. But for all of the new people joining us this morning inside of Rebel Investor Game, why is your thinking so important? The way I answer that question is by sharing with you the prosperity formula. And the prosperity formula is very simple, and it goes like this. Everything starts with your thinking. Okay? Everything runs off of your thinking. And what is your thinking going to do? Your thinking is going to drive your feelings. You often hear me talk about your energy and your feelings, right? Your energy, your feelings are the linchpin of everything. Why? Because your feelings and your energy drive your actions, and from your actions come your results. Okay, so your thinking is important. Okay, so I'm arguing here today that there's a roadblock in your thinking. Now, shift your thinking, and you remove that roadblock. Okay, so let me tell you what that roadblock is not. And I want to encourage you to play along with me here. I want you to ask yourself right now, what do you think that roadblock is? I'm going to tell you what that roadblock is not. These are common roadblocks that I get from clients when I coach clients all over the world, and we go through this exercise and we process some of the roadblocks in their thinking that are holding them back from achieving the prosperity, from unlocking the untapped deep reservoirs of prosperity that we all have inside of us. I want to share with you some of the roadblocks that really are not roadblocks the way you think they are. Okay, so let me tell you what the roadblock that I'm referring to on this training is not. Okay, so the roadblock to unlock the deep reservoirs of prosperity inside you, that roadblock is not your lack of knowledge. That's one of the most common ones that people wrestle with. It's the one that I wrestled with quite a bit when I was struggling to try to figure out how to create prosperity in my business. I always thought, I lack knowledge. Okay, it is not a lack of knowledge. Okay, the roadblock is not lack of ideas. Even though ideas are valuable, they're important. I always say that money doesn't lead, money follows value. Value comes from ideas. We'll talk about that over the course of Season 2, but that's not the roadblock I'm referring to. It's not lack of ideas. It's not lack of connections. A lot of people feel like they lack connections and that's why they're not successful. Nope, that's not the roadblock. It's not lack of financial resources. A lot of people believe that, well, if I just had more money, I'd be successful. Money helps. Money's a powerful thing, but that's not the roadblock, okay? It's not lack of time. It's not lack of hard work. It's not lack of knowing how to generate leads, right? Or learn the latest business skill or tactic. A lot of people get laser focused in on the skills and the tactics. Very important, right? Those things are important. That's not the roadblock. And it's not that you're not a tech expert. You know, that's one of the most common ones I get as well, Chris, I'm not good at the tech, okay? Is being good at tech valuable? Sure. Do you have to be good at tech to unlock these deep, untapped reservoirs of prosperity inside of you? No. Okay? So this is what I get from my clients all over the world. Now, I wanted to share these with you because I want to place emphasis, and I'm hoping you're noticing this word lack. Because typically, that's where the mind goes when you do an exercise like this. The mind immediately goes to lack. Oh, I lack this, or I lack that, okay? So the roadblock is that thinking you lack something. It's thinking you lack something. I'm here to tell you this morning, you lack nothing. Okay, so once you understand that you lack nothing, you can have that shift in your thinking. What's the shift in your thinking? Well, you remove the roadblock that you lack nothing, and that you have everything inside of you right now to achieve all the prosperity and abundance that you want in your business. And then you can have the thinking shift. And the thinking shift, and this is the anchor for the training today, the thinking shift is that I want you to develop a very healthy respect and regard for the skill of execution. Execution, wow, exciting, isn't it? Execution is not a sexy word, right? It's not a word that we get excited to talk about. We don't wake up in the morning and jump out of bed with all this energy and anticipation to talk about execution, right? But typically what we understand, and what all high performers understand, is that if you don't understand how to develop the execution muscle, then nothing else matters. Nothing else matters. You're always going to hold yourself back, and you're definitely not going to tap into what I'm calling the deep reservoirs of prosperity that are already inside of you right now. You know, Thomas Edison once said that if we all did the things that we were capable of doing, we would literally astound ourselves. Quite literally astound ourselves. Now, I want to touch very quickly on this idea of lacking knowledge. Okay? Because I know it's one of the biggest ones a lot of us wrestle with. It's one I get more than any other one is, I just lack knowledge. I lack knowledge. If I had more knowledge. Now, is knowledge important? Is knowledge powerful? Is it valuable for you to have in your business? Absolutely. Okay? But I want to point out that you don't have a knowledge problem, that you in fact do have an execution problem. And I want to point it out with an example that we're all familiar with. And that is the weight loss industry. Okay? So did you know that 65% of Americans are obese? Most of us know that we live in what did I say? Obese is what I meant to say, not over obese, but what most of us know is that we live in a society where the majority of people are actually overweight. Okay, so the question is this: do you think there's a magical secret to losing weight or getting in shape? Is there a magical secret to that? Is there like a magical body of knowledge that we're all, those of us who are trying to lose weight, we're all, on this path to find? Okay, well, did you know the diet and fitness industry is a $60 billion industry? And if you did a Google search right now, if you literally pulled over to your computer and did a Google search for diet books, you would return 464,000 results on diet books, just diet books. Okay, so here's the point. We don't have a knowledge gap, okay? Because we all know that eating healthy and exercising is important. We know that's the secret to losing weight and being healthy. We know that already. We don't have a knowledge gap. We have an execution gap. So let me check in with all of you right now, and I want to ask you, if you were to be brutally honest with yourself in your assessment of how you've executed in your own business on a consistent basis, let's say over the last 90 days, how would you score yourself on a scale of 1 to 10? We're talking about execution. Over the last 90 days, if you were to be brutally honest with yourself on a scale of 1 to 10, how well have you executed in your business? Okay, now, here's why you need to hear me talk about execution today. Okay, because if you don't place ultimate priority on developing the skill of execution, you will become a prisoner of your own mind. Okay, now, some of you may be there right now. You're frustrated in your business. You're not achieving the results you want to achieve. Maybe you're overwhelmed. Maybe you're dealing with anxiety. Maybe you just feel like you can never have a breakthrough. I'm here to tell you, if I were to get on the phone with you and we were to talk through your business, I could ask you some very key strategic questions and about where your challenges are, and I can virtually guarantee you everything's going to funnel back to execution. So literally, if you don't develop the skill of execution, if you don't place ultimate priority on that skill, you are going to put yourself in a position to become a prisoner of your own mind. It'd be like being in a forest in the dark of night, not having a map, not having a compass, not having a flashlight. This is what it's going to feel like for you in your business, quite literally. So I want you to think about that for a minute. Have you ever felt in your business that, gosh, you're just like in a dark forest, and oh wow, you forgot your flashlight and you forgot your compass and your map? Those are the things you need to execute. Okay, so let me give you 3 execution steps right now so that we can start to place ultimate priority on execution. I want to get this locked into your mind right here in day 1, because if we don't get this into our minds, into our thinking, into our ethos, if we don't respect this skill of execution, then anything we talk about after this, it's going to be watered down, and it's not going to be as effective as it really deserves to be in your business, so that you can create the results that I know and that I know you're capable of creating. So let me give you 3 execution steps. The first step is this. I want you to look at yourself as the CEO of your company. Hopefully you're looking at yourself as this role anyway, but I want you to, in this exercise, I want you to look at yourself as the CEO of your company, and I want to ask you to do a self-assessment on your ability to execute over the last 12 months. Do your own brutally honest self-assessment and ask yourself these 3 questions in that assessment. How would you grade yourself on a scale of 1 to 10 when it comes to execution? It's part number 1. How would you grade yourself? Be brutally honest. Question number 2 is, what's the biggest reason your score isn't higher? What's the biggest reason? And then part number 3, what's the best thing that you can do right now, starting today, to improve your score over this next season? What's the biggest thing you can do starting right now, starting today, to improve your score over this next season? Okay? That's the 3-part self-assessment step in step 1 of this 3-part execution plan I'm giving you. Okay? Step 2 is this. I want you to put this book on your books to read list. Okay, this is a book called The 12-Week Year. It's by a guy named Brian Moran. This is one of the books that actually inspired Rebel Investor Game when I started doing this almost 3 years ago. Okay, I was wrestling with challenges in my business. I was frustrated, and I started doing a lot of research, talking to successful people, came across this book and a handful of other books, and this is one of those that was the catalyst to jumpstart us being here on this training together today. So put that on your books to read list. And then step number 3 is, I want to strongly encourage you to consider an invitation to join me and the rest of our Rebel investors over the next 90 days on an adventure that I'm calling Rebel Investor Game. Okay, now why Rebel Investor Game? One reason, and that reason is cycles. The reason is cycles. I'm a huge believer that too many people, and I used to be this guy, get too focused on time management. And we get into the minutia of time management. And I believe it's better to focus our energy on cycles. Looking at your life as a cycle. Okay, now if you look at any living thing out there, all life form operates off cycles, right? We've got seasons, we've got years, we've got months, we've got days, we've got hours. Everything's a cycle. Our lives are cycles. I believe if you start to look at your business like a cycle, and you really develop this cyclical muscle, if you want to call that, I believe that's the best way to build results upon results upon results. And that's why we created Rebel Investor Game, because Rebel Investor Game is built on cycles. Okay, so how does the Rebel Investor Game cycle work? It works like this. There's 3 parts to the cycle. Okay, part number 1 is the part we're in right now. This is what we call the preseason. Okay, Rebel Investor Game, by the way, was inspired by an NFL season. When you look at the framework of how we put this cycle together, NFL football players are on the same cycle. Okay, so the cycle is, we have a 2-week preseason. Today is day 1 of the preseason. During the preseason, we spend time, effort, and energy preparing to run full tilt during the season. Okay? So during the first 2 weeks of the preseason, we're going to be talking about things that are going to get you ready to play your best when we get onto the field for 12 weeks, for about 90 days during the season. Okay? So part 1, the preseason, 14 days. Okay? We're going to meet Monday through Saturday and we're going to take Saturday off. This is throughout the entire cycle. We're going to take Sunday off. This is throughout the entire cycle. Okay? But the first 14 weeks of the cycle is the preseason. Then we're going to move into the season. That's where we're going to start running full tilt, executing, and talking about execution at a high performance level on the plan that we're going to be putting together starting today over the next 14 days. Okay? We're going to do that during the season. It's going to last 12 weeks. And then we're going to go into part 3, which is the off season of the cycle. Part 3 of the cycle is the off season. We're just coming out of an off season. Okay? During the off season, you rest, you recover, you celebrate, you express gratitude, you recharge, and you get ready to jump back into the next season. So if you look at the timing of this season we're going into right now, this is going to take us up to the end of 2017, and then we're going to be able to jump full tilt in together for the next season going into 2018. Okay, but right now we're focused on this season and this cycle, which is going to be 2 weeks, and then 12 weeks, and then a couple weeks of recovery before we do it again. Okay? Now, what will I be sharing? I'm going to be sharing with you what I call the definitive rulebook for winning in business and life at the highest level. Okay, I've been doing this for the last 17 plus years. I've worked with over 20 multi-million-dollar producers in a lot of different industries. I've had a lot of different experiences. I've been blessed to have a lot of mentors with different skill sets. Okay, so this is my way of giving back, of really synthesizing down everything that I've learned and continuing to learn to continue to grow my 7-figure business, to just give back to you, to inspire you, to help you develop the skills that I've been developing to put me on a path of prosperity. Okay, and the most important skill I've developed is the skill and the ability to execute. I learned a lot of my execution skills as an officer in the military. Okay, and I taught a lot of those execution skills as a top-rated professor of leadership and peak performance up at the University of Colorado Boulder, and now I get to teach it to clients all over the globe, you know, up, from the United States up into Canada, over to the UK, and even to the far, far East Coast into Australia. Okay, so this is, the Rebel Investor Game is my brainchild, my kind of passion project to give back to the marketplace, to put value back into the marketplace. Okay, so if you're ready for next level execution, right? If you're ready to go to that next level in your thinking, if you're ready to run at full tilt with us, then I want to offer you this invitation. And I want to offer you the invitation to head on over to facebook.com/groups/Rebel Investor Game. Okay, and just request access to join our private Facebook group. Okay, facebook.com/groups/Rebel Investor Game. Now, there's one main reason. There's a lot of reasons, but there's one main reason I want to encourage you to join our awesome community of Rebel Investors here in this next season on this adventure. We're all starting together today. And that one main reason is this. My friend, you were designed to play bigger in the world than you are playing right now. True? You know it's true. I know it's true. As you're watching this training, or if you're listening to this on the podcast, you were designed to play bigger in the world than you're playing right now. You know, Stephen Pressfield, he's the author of The War of Art. He once said that most of us have two lives: the lives we live and the lives we're capable of living. I share that with you because I want you to understand that my passion is empowering people to live the lives they are capable of living. It's my passion. It's not only my passion, it's my skill. It's what I've been studying. You know, I'm 39 years old. It's what I've been studying, since I was 16. Since I was 16, quite literally. Been studying this. It's my passion to empower people to get out of their own way so that they can be extraordinary. A lot of times that requires me to give people courageous love so that they can stop self-sabotaging. And so that's what I bring to this training. I bring my passion. I bring my energy. I bring my resources. I bring my willingness to give you courageous love if that's what the moment requires. Okay? But this is my passion. It's my skill. It's my calling on this earth And I want to encourage you to join us. Okay, now what am I going to do specifically during the next season is I'm going to disrupt your thinking. We're going to focus a lot on execution, but we're going to show up every morning, and my purpose, my passion is to disrupt your thinking. When we get off this training and I'm thinking about tomorrow's training, it's all around this idea of disrupting your thinking so that we can get you out of that matrix of mediocrity and get you into the place that I believe you were uniquely designed to live, which is to go out into the world and to create the extraordinary. Okay, so to that end, I'll be sharing with you during this 90-day adventure the exact strategies that I've discovered on my own personal adventure, right? Over the last 2 decades, I've been doing this since 2003, being an entrepreneur, okay? I'm going to share with you everything I've learned, the strategies to build my 7-figure business. And everything I share with you, again, will be anchored on focusing on execution, okay? So that I can help you, so that I can empower you and equip you to move closer to being part of the top 1%, which is where I believe all of you are destined to be. I believe it's guaranteed, in fact, as long as you don't quit on yourself. Okay, now a word of caution before I let you go here. It's going to be hard work, okay? It's going to be hard work. So just get that in your mind right now. This is going to be hard work. This might be the most challenging work you've ever done in your life because we're going to be focused on your thinking. Focused up here on your thinking, okay? So we're going to be focused on helping you break free of limiting beliefs and making the commitment to take consistent action. Take consistent action on what I share with you, okay? And that's going to be challenging. You will be challenged. You will be challenged. Okay, so here's the question. The question is, are you willing to accept that challenge? If you are, I want to encourage you to go over to facebook.com/groups/Rebel Investor Game. Okay, that's where our community is going to be hanging out. It's a free community for you to be a part of. How do you stay plugged in outside of that? You can head on over to our website, rebelinvestorsociety.com, and there's a banner on that site that says first time with us. You can click on that banner. You can get on our Rebel Investors Insiders list. I want to encourage you to get on that email list so that I can email you with updates when things are changing, when things are happening, just so you're in the loop. Okay, so that's number one. Number two, we're going to be creating a podcast blog during this season, okay? And we're going to put all the show notes onto the podcast blog. How do you get to the podcast blog? rebelinvestorsociety.com/podcast, okay? All the show notes will be there, and we're just going to build out a blog, okay? We're also going to be doing Facebook Lives like we're doing now, okay? Some of you are listening to this on our iTunes podcast, so we're going to be doing an iTunes podcast. That was one of the things that was recommended to us from last season. So we do listen to you, all of you, right? And then we've got our private Facebook group again. So there's a lot of ways to get plugged in. There are no excuses for you not crushing out big results in your business here over this next season. Just remember, most of us live 2 lives. The lives we are living now and the lives we are capable of living. My friends, gamers, I am empowered. I'm excited to have the opportunity to come alongside you in the adventure of your business to help you live the life that I know and that you know, hopefully you know. It doesn't really matter what I think or know when it comes to your business. Hopefully you know that there is a life that you're capable of living that you're not living right now. And that's why we're here. Okay? So gamers, thanks for your trust. I don't take it for granted. Now get out there, be extraordinary in your thinking, right? And be a liberator. Be a liberator by being the light on the hill. And never forget, I love you, but not in a weird way. I'll see you tomorrow for training day number 2 here inside of the preseason. Rebel strong.